Hey guys, this is Kevin here from Ready Made RC. Today I'm here to show you the Strix Goblin. It's a new high-performance plank that's great for endurance, speed, and durability. I'm going to show you how to build the plug and play. Okay, let's unbox the Goblin. You'll notice when you receive yours, it's packed very nicely and securely, and each individual part is protected with bubble wrap. First you have the fuselage. Let's open this up. First thing you might notice is the Cobra motor with the Strix logo on it. The high density EPO foam. Latch inside here. And of course you have the manual. If you're watching this, you might already look through this. And the wings. The servo is pre-installed and ready to go for you. Wing spar. Servo lead's already inside here, just pull these out. That's the right wing, let's get the left wing. Don't lose these screws. There's 4 screws here. These hold the wings on, so you'll need those. At the very bottom here, you've got your decals, and we'll save those for last. Okay, now we've got everything unboxed, let's start the assembly. Now you'll notice inside your fuselage you have this tray with white pieces on it. It slides out to one side or the other, and basically it connects your wings together. You'll also notice this wooden tray. This is an optional flight controller board, and you've got 36 by 36 holes as well as 20 by 20 depending on what you have. You can also mount your Vector flight controller underneath this. And this just rides between the front and rear carbon spars here. And you can glue it in. I would highly recommend that because it'd probably vibrate out. So now that we've installed our wooden flight controller bracket, we're going to slide it back inside the fuselage here. You'll see these little indentions here where the screws go through. Line those up. Okay. Now we're going to put the main square tube through the center section. This is your main spar for your wings. So you want to have this centered. It'll center automatically when you install the wings though. So on the wing, you'll notice that the square spar on the outside actually fits on top of the smaller square spar on the inside of the wing. It makes a very strong system. It's actually a lot more rigid than a circular spar, and just slides right over top of this. And these little clips here are what hold the wing to the fuselage. So, insert the servo wire. We'll grab that with our fingers later. Might give you a little bit of trouble the first time, but once you get it lined up, it'll slide right in easily. And you want a tight fit. Okay, with the left wing on, we'll repeat the same on the right. And as you're sliding the wings together, make sure to keep the servo wire out of the channel between the fuselage and the carrier. Okay, next you're going to want to locate your wing screws. You'll see 2 short ones and 2 longer ones. The longer ones go in the front, the shorter ones go in the rear. And you'll need a 2mm wrench to install these. Just make sure your holes are lined up, and just drive it in. Same on the front. All right, nice and snug, and repeat on the opposite side. Okay, now that you've installed the wings, You'll notice that inside the fuselage, the ESC is zip tied to the wood tray. It's not supposed to be there. It was that way for shipping, so the wires don't get pulled and the ESC gets banged around while it's on its way to you. So you're going to want to cut that out of there. And mount it to the side of your fuselage with either Velcro, double stick tape, however you prefer. Okay, now that you've installed the ESC, it's time to install the propeller. This is an APC 6x4E, and the letters should always go towards the nose of the plane. If you put it on backwards, you'll get some thrust, but you're not going to be able to fly. So, slide this on here with the correct spacer to keep it from moving, the washer, followed by the nut. Now we chose a 9-lock nut for this because, well, we didn't want it to come loose, so you'll need an 8mm tool for this to tighten it all the way. And tighten the prop nut down completely. Alright, now it's time to move on to your receiver and configuring it. So after you've installed your receiver, make sure that you have 3mm of reflex. And when I say reflex, I'm referring to the elevons when they're at 0 stick input where they are on the wing. So for a flying wing or plank, you want to have a little bit of up for your first flight until you trim it in. So we're going to set this back to 0, and we recommend 3mm of reflex on each wing for the stock configuration. So I'm going to measure this by using the included manual as my straight edge. I'm going to make sure the wing is nice and flat here. There's no light gaps all the way across, especially the hinge part right here. And I'm going to use a ruler to measure 3mm of reflex here, right along this edge. And when it reaches 3, I'm going to copy this on the other side. So about right there. So that's my stock 0 setting for takeoff. And another very important part of this is the amount of throw you have. If you go to 100% throw, you're going to be all over the place when you go to try to take your maiden flight. So we recommend a maximum of 6mm up and 6mm down of total travel for your wings. Now it's not going to give you a very fast roll rate, but it'll be very smooth, and you'll be a lot more successful starting out. And while we're on the subject of elevons, if you're going to be going fast, which this plane is designed to do, we recommend installing the included hinge reinforcements that's found on your decal sheet. They actually go on your elevons, on the hinge line right there. We kept the hinge line thin so it's a little more free flowing, doesn't fight your servos. Okay, let's talk a little bit about FPV gear. The main theme of the Goblin is high speed, low drag. So if you start adding your antennas on top of here, like a circular polarized 1.3 antenna or GPS on the wing, just anywhere, you're going to really hurt the performance of this plane. And we suggest putting everything you can inside the fuselage. 1.3 will go through this plastic fuselage very easily. So you're not going to have a lot of loss unless you're right on top of your battery. So we try to keep it towards the back. The true RC Singularity, the little hockey puck style antenna of 1.3, fits really nicely in the back of this. We suggest putting that in there, and some guys have even mounted their 433 antennas vertically inside this fin, so it's a great place for them as well. As far as camera placement, I have mine mounted the nose here, cut out with a reamer or a drill bit, something that matches the size of your lens, and it's secured inside. It makes it obviously a lot more aerodynamic than sticking it on top. We do have the option on top of the canopy for removing the secondary hatch here, adding a servo for a pan, and of course HD camera. But if you do add an HD camera, we suggest cutting this out to match the profile of the back of it, just to try to give it a little more aerodynamics. Okay, and now I'm going to apply the decals. I'm not going to bore you with the footage of all this, but when we come back, it'll all be done. Okay, now we finished the decals. Now you might have noticed in your box these two pieces of grip tape here, and this is to actually help you aid in launching the Goblin. Basically, you're just going to stick these on just like other decals, where you would hold on to the fuselage. So right about the middle of the wing on the bottom side, Just like that. You can hear how rough that is. It's like sandpaper. Just like that. It really gives you a nice strong grip when you try to launch this the first time. Now before you're made in flight, you're going to definitely want to check your throws again, make sure they're okay. And the other big item here, which is especially true on flying wings and planks like this, is the CG. Okay, and we recommend putting your finger here in the middle and making a line. That's your CG. Balance on that with your fingernail when you're before you fly. The balance is there, you're good to go. If you have a 3300 pack, you're probably going to have it all the way in the nose. 5100 is more towards the back, of course. That also depends on what you have installed in the back. That's definitely going to change. All right, now we've got the grip tape installed, and for your maiden flight, you're basically throwing it like a football. About a 30-degree angle towards the sky. A little over half throttle is good. If you go too much throttle, it has a tendency to torque roll, and we don't want that. So just a little bit over half throttle is good. Landing, this is going to land a little bit long. Meaning it's pretty fast to land. It's a high speed plane, so you're going to want to give yourself plenty of room to slow down, and don't just dive it in there and try to stick the landing the first try. Do a few passes. Your typical cruise speed with the Goblin is about 50, 60, around that range, about 4 to 5 amps. And that's also going to depend on how much stuff you have on the outside of it. If you've got your big antennas on it, it's actually going to drop in efficiency pretty quickly. So keep it clean, and it will stay efficient for you. Another cool idea is to buy a second canopy. Now you might be wondering why you'd want a second canopy if you haven't crashed this one yet. Basically, you can set this up so you have a pan and tilt for close proximity. And if you still want to keep your the high speed capabilities, you can have another canopy you just bolt right back on without the pan and tilt. Alright, so that pretty much does it for the Strix Goblin plug and play build. Get out there and fly it. I know you will love it. Thanks for watching.